Hi, guys. I'm Valarie Johnson, and this is Interludes Extra. And we're going to be reviewing, myself and executive producer Michael Wamble, the Golden Globe nominees, the 78th annual Golden Globe nominees. And we'll do a couple of predictions and talk about some things. How are you doing on today, Michael?
How am I doing? I'm doing okay. I am doing okay. I am slightly awake. I spent the night with Andra Day, so that
Mm-hmm.
was always a beautiful thing out of Oakland. So we spent the night together through the magic of Hulu, and she tucked me in, and I got to wake up, so that was a good thing. Always a wonderful thing.
Wonderful. But we had talked about the Golden Globes earlier, and what happened was we did not get a chance to see a lot of the films that were nominated, but we have more education today because we got a chance to see a few. Michael just mentioned Andrea Day and the United States versus Billie Holiday. She is one of the nominees for Best Actress. And we have other folks that she's up against. Frances McDormand for No Man Land.
Uh, Nomadland, yeah.
Nomadland.
hmm
Carrie Mulligan for Promising Young Woman, the great Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman. So let's just jump in. Who do you predict? Who should win and who's going to win? What do you think?
Who should win and who's going to
Yeah.
win?
Yeah.
Well, that's a very interesting question, especially
Hmm.
having just watched United States versus Billie Holiday. I'm glad that we started with this category. One of the things that we want to kind of focus in on today with this episode, either you're hearing this or you're watching this right now, is women in film. This is
Woo.
a year of women in film. I know we sound like we say that every year, but truly this year has some historic marks, especially given the body of people who made these decisions. There's two ways to look at it. One is that, hey, as in do the right thing. Hey, Sal, how come there ain't no black people nominated? Where the black people nominated? How come there ain't no black people nominated? Sal,
We're the brothers on
black
the
people,
wall.
yeah, where are the brothers on the wall? Hey, black people spend much money on the movies, okay, and
I know I
produce
do.
some great films this year, okay, and a diversity of styles of films, but are quite underrepresented in these awards. Now, that's one take. The other is that, oh my goodness, look at all the women nominated. This is amazing. So we're
Yeah.
going to go positive this morning and look at kind of the women nominated. So at best actress in a motion picture drama,
Right.
who should win?
Who should
Who
win?
do I think will win?
There you
I
go.
think that really this is, I mean, Andre's Day is coming on strong right
Okay.
now. I mean, if this was some kind of race, I would say that she is making it a photo finish. She gives she embodies Billie Holiday in a way that will make you forget about Lady Sings the Blues. Okay, especially
Wow.
for a new generation of people who know Diana Ross as Tracy's mom. Okay. So this is a really new style. There's a new take on it. It's a fresh take from Lee Daniels. He shows you a woman who is persecuted and prosecuted by the United
Wow.
States in a way that I didn't know. I mean, there are things here. I heard Miss Oprah Winfrey watched this movie and said, "I didn't know this about Billie Holiday." I
Okay.
certainly felt the same way. And
Right.
Andra Day, you believe her. She was an actress. She's an actress. This is the first time she's acted. She is a singer who did not drink or smoke before taking this part and began to take up both of those terrible habits to get closer to Billie Holiday. The only thing that she avoided, thank goodness, was the smack. But there are times when, and Oprah says this in a prologue to the movie, sort of a lead in,
Oh, good.
asks, calls Lee Daniels and says she asked him, did, did she, was she actually using heroin? Because there is a point in time when you think that, oh my God, you got to pull this woman out of this. She's really in it. So
Yeah.
I think that in terms of who should win this year, I
Okay.
think that I would not be surprised if Andra Day comes up with some awards this award season. However, I am kind of saddened because I think I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think
I
I know
think
what's
I
going to
think I
happen
think Miss
too.
I think Miss
Yeah.
Potato Sack is going to get this award,
Potato
and
sack. Who was that?
yeah, yeah, I think Frances McDormand is going to win this award, and I'm
Oh.
saddened by that because she stars in a crushingly depressing film called Nomadland,
And you
which
saw that. You
I
saw that, and
did.
what did you think of that?
It made me want to reach out to for a suicide prevention line. Watching the
Wow.
movie, it's
Wow.
about grief,
Yeah.
and instead
Mhm.
of talking about grief or even showing grief, it makes you grieve, and I
Mm.
it's uncomfortable. Now, it was written and directed by Chloe Zhao, who is
Yeah.
up for Best Director. So she is one of three women who are up for
Wonderful.
Best Director. So
Ooh. Ooh.
the relationship that Frances McDormand and Chloe Zhao must have had to create this movie, which seems like it has no script, it just kind of follows this woman on this journey.
Mhm.
This journey of grieving is pretty amazing. Now, if you notice, I didn't mention a woman who has won these awards before and is
Right.
considered now to be the new Meryl Streep, Viola Davis.
All right.
Viola
All
Davis
right.
is amazing in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
She was completely unrecognizable in this film, and
She
I was
was, and
totally
I give
blown
her
away by
credit
her
for that.
performance. Mhm.
I give her
Totally
credit
blown
for that.
away.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in terms of that, I mean, let me ask you, Valerie.
Mhm.
As great as Viola Davis was in this role, in that role as Ma Rainey, do we do we expect too much of her? Is she at another level? So that's why I worry that she may not win this award. Is that there's this? I think she is almost. I hate to do the sports comparison,
Oh wow.
but within the last week, we saw Serena Williams go up against Naomi Osaka
Yeah.
in tennis,
Yeah.
and as great as Serena Williams is, it really wasn't a surprise that she lost in the
Yeah.
Australian Open because you
Yeah.
know that okay, Serena's the GOAT, but
Pretty much. Pretty much.
these
That's right.
these young people coming up are pretty amazing too.
Right.
So I don't know. What do you think? Who do you think, based on just on your kind of instinct? What do you think this award may go to?
Well, I will say this. I am a fan of Carrie Mulligan. I did see Promising Young Woman. I thought that she did
You did.
I thought she, yeah, I thought she did a great job. And she's done other films that I've liked, and she has a quiet presence on screen, but then she acts a lot with her face, which is great method acting. And so I only got a chance to see three of the women in this category. No, I'm sorry, two of the women in this category. I didn't see Frances McDormand because I like her work, so I kind of agree with you. She probably will go ahead and get it. But I'm such a fan of Viola Davis, and for a long time she went
Hmm.
unrecognized
Yeah, she did.
and accredited when she started acting. A lot of people don't remember. She was in Kate and Leopold for literally two or three sentences, and then that was it. And ironically, you compared her to Meryl Streep. One of the roles that she was nominated for against Meryl Streep, they literally only had a few lines together, and her when
Doubt,
she's on screen, doubt.
doubt.
Yeah, when she's on
Yes,
screen, she is memorable. So to
yes.
command an ensemble cast, George C. Wolfe directed Viola in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I've seen that play from August Wilson several times, performed on stage and on Broadway. But it's just exciting to, when people literally transform themselves to play a role, you feel just drawn to their essence. And I would arguably say, and usually what happens when there are two women of color nominated in a acting category such as this, I've always seen it where they cancel each other out and they go with the other person. So depending on the buzz around No Man Land, I'm mispronouncing
No,
it. I'm so
no,
sorry.
nomad land, because she's a
Nomad
nomad.
Land,
She's just
right? Depending on the
wandering around. Yeah,
so
yeah, like a
depending on the
nomad.
Yeah, so a nomad land. So depending on the buzz and the director for that film, if that wins, if she wins best director and the screenplay I believe is nominated too, then it'll probably be a shutout for a lot of the other w- actors of color, women of color that will not be nominated. That's been what's usually happened, but I would like for Viola to win. I would like for her to win. You're rooting for Andra Day. I totally understand that.
Well,
But I'm
tell me more about Carrie Mulligan in Promising Young Woman, which is the movie that we talked about before, which is
mhm.
the price point is keeping a lot of people away from this movie. It's the
Oh
last time I
yeah.
looked at it, it was at about 1995 at pay per view, where most other things aren't. Certainly, if you have Netflix, you had the opportunity to see Viola Davis. If you have Hulu, you have the opportunity to see Andra Day, sorry,
Mhm.
uh, or Frances McDormand. They're both those films are on Hulu. Um, Vanessa Kirby's Pieces of a Woman, that's on Netflix. So that's available to you. That was also written by a woman, Kate Weber.
Mhm.
And Promising Young
Wow.
Woman that you saw was directed by Emerald Fennell, a woman who is
And
up
and I
for
and
Best
up for best
Director.
director, right? Is this her
She's one
first
of the
time
three.
directing? Is that her
Yeah,
first time directing?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, her
So this
debut.
is a first time director, and she had a wonderful cast around her. Adam Brody,
Hmm.
Sam Richardson. So it's just
A lot
to
of
see
comedians
her.
that you might recognize, right? A lot of comic
A lot of
actors.
actors that you would definitely recognize. Jennifer
Yeah, they
Coolidge.
all come
Yeah,
to unfortunate ends, right?
yeah, I know, and just the for her to kind of
What's Promising Young Woman about? Let's go there.
well, it's something like I don't want to give it fully away, but something happens to her and it really
Okay.
traumatized her and she is she
She's
goes
on that
on like
revenge tip, right?
and because she is an actress that I've seen in other roles where she's kind of playing a very quiet character or kind of a supportive character, for her to kind of lead this cast and just kind of really kind of transform herself to be like, oh, I was afraid of her. I was afraid of her character. I didn't know some things happened that were very unpredictable, and I was thinking I didn't see it going in that direction. And then the ending is a nice balloon
Well,
surprise.
there
So
has been talk about it. I mean, I don't think you're giving too much away. It's considered to
okay,
be like a Me Too movie in
yeah,
which the main
mm-hmm,
character is assaulted at some point,
exactly,
and she
exactly,
begins to act out revenge against a certain type of man who might
mm-hmm,
put her in that situation again. And she's an equal opportunity revenge artist. She
pretty
doesn't just
much,
go after men; she goes after women as well. The women who enable men to do these
hmm
things. One of the things that was interesting about it when talking about women in
right,
film again
mm-hmm,
is that there was a critique and I'm thinking that movie critics in some form, I don't know where they came from. I don't know where their heads are at. They're
Uh-oh.
saying some really odd things. One of the odd things written about this movie, which had to be
Okay.
defended. And I guess people are entitled to their own opinion. I'm certainly not against freedom of speech at all. I certainly support it.
Of
Certainly
course not.
support it.
Of
Certainly
course.
support it. But Carey Mulligan was criticized, or the casting of Carey Mulligan was criticized of this movie for not being for being unconventional. As in, she's not that attractive. So why would things like this happen to her? Wouldn't it have to be a
Yeah.
more attractive woman to be seen by men in this way? Of course, a man wrote that. The
Obviously,
man
unfortunately.
the man defending himself saying, "But yeah, but I'm gay, so I'm not really." You know what? I mean, it doesn't matter the critic's personal sexuality. What matters
Mm-hmm.
is the gaze, the eye, what the eye sees, and that is a very
Right.
male point of view of
Right.
a very a kind of a hope that also holds women down too. So, are women who you think are attractive? That's not the case. I don't think. I don't think that's how it happens, or why it happens.
Right. And the scary thing is that this is a type of situation that could happen to any woman working, period. Like that. I think that's what's so real about it. And I love the title Promising Young Woman, because this is for work. This is I'm going to school. I'm doing what I can to you know do good in the world, and I have this person that's over me, and I want to impress that person. I want to be promising. I want you to uplift me and promote me, and do things, normal things would happen if I was male.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I
Hmm.
this is not a film for children.
Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, I don't think it
I'll,
is.
I'll just go ahead and give you that
Yeah,
disclaimer. But
yeah.
definitely, I love her performance because it's not the norm for her. She
Hmm.
is. I've seen a lot of work that she's done, and this is something on the other side of crazy, which I was thinking, okay, I like it. So I like when
Hmm.
actors act out of their norm. Like, I think
Yeah.
unfortunately, Denzel Washington won for acting like a villain. He won an Oscar for being a villain for the first time on screen.
Training Day.
Although Training Day, although he should have won for
Right.
Malcolm X, but that's another conversation altogether.
Well,
Okay.
well, one more interesting thing about the Best Actress category, if
Mm-hmm.
Miss Viola Davis does claim this statue, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that she has a right to it.
Right.
I certainly don't want to get it twisted here to say that I don't think Viola Davis should win this award. I
Of
think
course.
she
Of course not.
could, and
Mm-hmm.
she has a right to it. If she does, um, two interesting things. That means that she'll win Golden Globes for portrayal written by the same writer, August Wilson.
Good.
Also,
Mm.
lines. These categories matter. Okay,
They
like
do.
the categories that people are slotted into matter. Viola
Mm-hmm.
Davis won a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress for
Mm-hmm.
Fences, which is a movie most people would argue that she starred in.
I
She actually
know.
has more screen time and lines in
Then
Fences than she does in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So
interesting.
she would win
Hmm.
if she won. She would win Best Actress for having less screen time than she did when she won Best Supporting Actress.
Nice fact. I like that. Look at you doing the research, Michael. All right.
I know how to read.
He knows how to research, ladies and gentlemen.
I know how to read. I learned it in school. School.
I is a college graduate. We should probably jump right to the director category. I think I want to
Okay,
go on over
let's
to
go. Hey,
that.
and let's talk about the minority in this category. Men.
The two men
Men,
directors that were nominated, who are
those
they?
poor white men, those poor white men in their minority status here. Yes. Yeah. They happen to be Aaron Sorkin
Hmm.
and David Fincher. Those are our minorities here. So they are, I guess, we had to have a couple white guys in this category, so we threw these two in. Um, Good thing they are associated with excellent films this year. You have Aaron
Right.
Sorkin for The Trial of the Chicago Seven,
We saw that.
a film that he wrote.
Right.
And then you have David Fincher, who is
Hmm.
up for Best Director for Mank, who directs a film in a way that is also a matter of family. Uh,
Okay.
his father wrote it, the screenplay,
Nice.
so he got to
Nice.
complete it posthumously. So yeah. So both of
Excellent.
those are great films. Trial of the Chicago Seven has to do with historical events in the city around the 1968 Democratic National Convention, in which uh, the mayor, brought the pain to protesters, and then the U.S. government decided to say that they had instigated a riot. It
Hmm.
is a political trial.
Pretty
If
much.
nothing else, you get that message from the film on Netflix.
Very much.
Another Netflix, also David Fincher's Mank, which talks about Herman Mankiewicz, who for
Hmm.
film butts, you already know that name. That is the name that is associated or shares the Oscar for Citizen Kane, and it gives you the background story of how the screenwriter wrote Citizen Kane from
Exactly.
as he was recovering from a horrific accident,
Right.
who
Hmm.
was pretty much swimming in alcohol, and and it's amazing that anything productive happened, but then you have this beautiful screenplay for arguably one of the best movies ever made. So you got those two guys in there in a category that is dominated by women. Val, there's one
Interesting.
woman we didn't mention who is nominated for Best Director. Tell us a little bit about her.
Oh my gosh. Well, if you know her as actress, and she got started as early as 13, 14 years on the sitcom 227 in the mid 80s. Um, and she's done some incredible work, Boys in the Hood. Oh, good gracious. Poetic Justice, um, uh, Jerry Maguire. It's endless, the amount of work that Regina has done as an actress. But she talked about, I saw an interview of how she wanted to get into directing, and she started going behind the camera, I want to say about little under a decade ago, and she had to apply to become a director and go through all the trials and tribulations as if she had never acted. And women directors, especially directing what I would like to say 1 hour dramas on television, the great thing is with the platform of, say, a Lee Daniels, or a platform of Chandra Rhimes, black
Mm.
showrunners were able to bring on black
Ava
directors.
DuVernay,
Ava
or
DuVernay,
Ava
yeah, they're able
DuVernay
to.
with Queen Sugar,
Green
and
Sugar,
and
right?
and and having women as the director for at least the
That's right.
first couple seasons.
Which was great, and you to see her name directing, which was a big deal. She just talked about all she had to go through to become a director. So it was all of the drama work that she did was a great dress rehearsal for what she was nominated for. We heard about One Night in Miami at the Chicago International Film Festival. Is that correct,
Yes, yes, we
Michael?
did. Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, so that premiered virtually here and did well. Kind of did the festival circuit. Excellent performances. Leslie Odom,
Also nominated for
Idris,
a Golden Globe.
also nominated Idris Hodge. Just a lot of. She worked with this cast, and it's a supposedly a fictitious account of what had happened between four amazing people: Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, and who is the last person? It's four gentlemen.
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown. That's Idris Hodges' character. Yes. So for her to be nominated after she put in a lot of work that we didn't see. We saw it, but we didn't know unless someone said, "Hey, you know Regina King directed this." You're like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And she was still being nominated. She was still in front of the camera, working and doing other things. There was a
If Bill Street could
wonderful.
talk,
Yeah, if Bill Street could talk, I think she actually won an Oscar. Yeah, she won an
she
Oscar
did.
for that role. She won I think, believe she won an Emmy for the 7 Seconds Netflix series that was on.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I was, so I've been following her career for a long time, and it would be beautiful if she won for best directing,
Yeah,
One Night in
definitely.
Miami. Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
would be wonderful. What are your thoughts?
I agree. And one of the things I think that's interesting about this film, if you're going to talk about women in film, is that you have no idea. There are times when you're watching this movie, you're so drawn in that I would say you almost forget it. You're watching a movie.
Pretty much, pretty much.
And then if a director manages to create a world in which you forget that it is a world, then they have done their job. And there's nothing I think that's very necessarily feminine about the film, nor particularly masculine about the film.
Of
You see
course.
these characters; they're kind of presenting themselves, but they are three-dimensional characters. None of
Right.
them, and given the short amount of time you're thinking of these historic figures that you're sharing with them, uh,
Mm-hmm.
they are three-dimensional people, and the fact that she's able to do this and make, I think, what I worried about when I went to see it. What I worried about when I watched it was that I know that this was something that was the screenplay was written almost like a stage play. It's
Right.
something, it has
Yeah.
elements to it that would
Mm-hmm.
make you worry, well, how is this going to translate as a film? Stage and
On
screen are very
screen.
different.
Very different.
But
Yeah.
this is truly a movie, and that's in no small part to the director
Mm-hmm.
behind behind the lens. So I think that's I mean, I would love to see her win. I
I
think
would.
she should win.
Mm-hmm.
But I do acknowledge two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, Mank. Mank is a
Okay.
really interesting film.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of a more traditional Hollywood style film. It's
Right.
Netflix. It's black and white
Right.
in its approach. Um, Obviously, if you're talking about a movie that's talking about the man that wrote Citizen Kane, um,
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
only is language very important, and you get
Right.
that, but there's
Mm-hmm.
also there's really beautiful cinematography in Mank that you I don't know, I didn't expect, but I guess I should, from David Fincher.
Of
Um,
course. Yeah.
it,
He's
it
got an
and
eye.
then there's Nomadland, which is unlike
Yeah.
anything that I have seen in a
Mm-hmm.
while. I mean, as the more I thought about this movie, which I gotta say, first view, I did not enjoy at all.
Wow.
Um, it has a look to it, and it
Right.
has this distinct style, and I swear, as I told you earlier, uh,
Right.
there's a screenplay to this.
Yeah,
I
there's a
mean,
screenplay to
somebody
this,
wrote
yes.
this, because it doesn't feel like, it feels like a documentary. It feels
Okay.
like there's nothing that feels staged or pre-written about it. It's just like this camera is following this woman as she goes
Right.
on this journey, and that's an accomplishment. So I
And
would
the
have to
same
acknowledge
and
that is
Chloe
accomplished.
Zhao.
Zhao, I believe. Yeah.
Zhao, yeah. So she also wrote the screenplay, and the screenplay is nominated. So
It's
that's a
just so
coup.
depressing.
It
It's just so depressing. I
it's
mean,
meant to be. It's meant to
we
be.
had such a we've had such a depressing last 2 years. I
Yeah, we
mean,
have.
I,
Hmm.
I, I mean, I think most people have been using that black box, that flat screen to try to escape. There is no escape from Nomad Land. You are stuck there with her. And you want your own van? You want to drive in the opposite direction she drives? Like, if she's gonna go work at Amazon another day, it's like, please don't. I don't want to go with you there.
Oh,
I don't. Not another camp where we eat beans. Oh, come on, hun.
I
Just
don't
live in
believe
your
it.
sister's house. Come on. How hard is that? Really? but
Well,
but but it is a visual, it is a feast visually, to
yeah,
see some of the landscape scenes there.
yeah.
There's beauty there. And one thing, but Frances McDormand, I, Frances McDormand may be one of the actresses of our time, and
Of course.
I'll give her credit in this way.
Yeah.
In a time in which we're talking about pronouns, Michael, he, him, Valerie, she, her. Frances McDormand is a it they. This woman at times defies gender.
Very much
And there were
so.
times I swear I forgot she was a woman. She seemed like a person, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it is. But certainly every time she mentioned her husband, I thought, husband? You had a husband? And I felt like that horrible critic with Carrie Mulligan, like saying, like, you're not attractive enough to be assaulted. But I'm like, well, that's horrible. But I'm looking at this woman like, really?
Yeah.
Because
She's
whatever grief she went through, she lost it all. I mean, it's gone. When we see
yeah.
her, she is a shell.
Yeah. Well, I understand why Chloe picked Frances to do this. She's a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has a way of things. 3 billboards outside of Ebbing. She won an Oscar for, and then she also won Best Actress in a Leading Role in Fargo. That was back in '96. So she's been doing decades of excellent work. And you talk about you were depressed. That means Chloe did her job.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a saying that, I mean, you can watch someone kind of lose themselves, but you don't
Hmm.
have to. There's a sympathy and empathy. I would rather
Of
have some
course.
sympathy for her. I don't want to feel that empathetic, okay, to that. I don't want to feel that. That's too
Okay.
much. Like,
Okay.
in a film, if you're in a waiting room with the person, and they're going to see the doctor, and they say, "Oh, it's going to be an hour wait." You elapse time in a movie, okay? You shorten things. You have quick cuts where you understand an hour has
Right.
gone by. But I
Right.
shouldn't feel that whole hour. Like, I feel her driving. I feel the bumps on the road. Like, my goodness.
Okay,
Anyway,
so that so we're rooting for Regina, but for best director. But who do you
mhm.
think will get it? I honestly believe she might get it. She actually might get. She actually. I'm saying I'm hoping that she wins, and I'm saying that she might win. Now it depends on if they're usually things are won in pairs, or they depending on
But
who
but
wins
but yeah, but that's with the
screenplay.
Oscar. That's not with our wonderful friends at the Hollywood Film Press Association.
The foreign
Who
press.
the foreign press who were in the news themselves this past week
Yeah,
for the
let's talk
fact that
about
they
that.
have,
Why were they in the news?
well, apparently they have no black members. Imagine that. So this apparently is an open secret, meaning that this is a secret to no one African American
Wow.
in entertainment. As
Wow.
Ava DuVernay tweeted out as a really, like, we all know this. Why are you writing about this? And apparently, the Los Angeles Times wrote about it because they actually got to fact check it and confirm the thing that
Right.
everyone pretty much knew is that there were no black members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which is the organization that puts on the Golden Globes.
Golden Globes, right?
Not only that, they kind of talked about how corrupt the organization is, how members are susceptible to bribes, and
Yeah,
to then
yeah,
nominate projects that where they received the bribes. So you have some, quite low quality crap like Emily in Paris receiving lots of nominations, and you have a snub for other projects like I May Destroy You receive zero nominations. Of course, I May Destroy You is unfortunately both didn't bribe the judges, and also is starring and written by a black woman. So that's a double whammy against them.
right. And as I was wondering why nothing or no one was nominated for The Five Bloods, this was a film that was done in the middle of the
Yeah.
pandemic in 2020. Another, I think it was probably the second to last film that Chadwick Boseman appeared in. But Delroy Lindo did a
Hmm.
phenomenal performance in that film, and I was hoping that at least his acting would have been acknowledged. And then, of course,
Yes.
Spike
Yeah.
as a director be acknowledged, but no, no stars, no nothing. Snub,
even
snub,
Zen,
snub.
even Zendaya, even Zendaya for Malcolm and Marie. I mean,
Hmm.
so none of these just didn't register at all. Really, just more Shit's
Yeah.
Creek. Just just that's you. That's you. You Shit's Creek. That's you. You Emily in Paris. That's you. That's you. Oh, okay.
And
I just
and
wanted to
didn't
just
and
check.
didn't and didn't the people that were nominated for Emily in Paris kind of tweeted out and say,
Oh yeah, the one of the showrunners on said like I loved I May Destroy You. I can't believe that
Mhm.
they didn't get nominated. And our work did. That's amazing. I mean, she knew, girl knew. She was telling the truth. She knew. I
"Oh
mean,
gosh."
you know what you got, and and that was I mean, here's the thing. Here's one.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'll just mention this category. We don't have to talk about it. I just want you to notice it. Okay. Best TV series, musical or comedy.
Who
Emily
are
in
the nominees
Paris.
for that?
Emily in Paris.
Okay.
Okay. The Flight Attendant, HBO.
Okay.
The Great, Hulu. Schitt's Creek, Pop TV, and Ted
Mhm.
Lasso, Apple TV. No disrespect to any of those.
Okay. No
None of that.
disrespect.
But is that really what people were watching on television? I mean, like, really? Is that really? Because
Well,
I don't think so.
yeah.
I watched a
Yeah.
couple of those. I've seen at least three of those, of the three of the five nominated. I don't think so. I'm not too sure about that. Now that's musical comedy. Now best
Okay.
TV series drama. Here's what you heard about a lot. The
What you
Crown,
heard? Oh
The
yeah.
Crown, Netflix.
Mhm. Mhm.
The Mandalorian,
Yeah. Heard
Disney
about that. Heard about that one. Yeah.
Plus, Disney Plus. Um, yes, plus. Got to put the plus in there because that means you spending my money to see it. More money, more money, more money. Uh, Ozark on Netflix, which has been
Yeah.
out many years and done well over
Mhm.
the years, and then Ratchet, uh, another Netflix. The one thing I didn't mention was the thing that ignited the African American community this year online, because every Sunday when it would come out, everybody did you see that? What's that Pickaninny episode about? What in the world is going on? And that, of course, is Lovecraft Country on
Yes.
HBO.
Mhm.
Now
Mhm.
that piece of Afrofuturism, that sci-fi African American experience,
Mhm.
Misha Green, the work that she did with that,
Mhm.
production coming out of Jordan Peele's camp, that was amazing, and that was appointment television, and I don't think it was just for African American viewers either.
No, it
I think
was.
people were making sure they got to see that. Okay,
Hmm.
and it affected a lot of people, and it was provocative in a
Hmm.
way. I mean, we keep thinking about coronavirus as something that really affected all of us in this past year. The other thing was
Exactly.
what is
Yeah.
termed as the racial reckoning that happened over the last 2 years. And
Hmm.
Lovecraft Country had a way, even though it was set as a period piece in the past, and then dealt with going into the whole new universes, literally in the it had a way to speak about what was going on in the streets and
Hmm.
outside in our world, and the brutality that we experience from police and other systemic racism, which actually does exist. um
Right.
Lovecraft Country had a way to address all of that. And I think that there's no way it should not win best TV series drama. Here's the problem with it though. Here's
Uh-oh.
the problem here.
Hmm.
Apparently there were no actors in this thing
I
because no one associated with Lovecraft Country was nominated for anything. And I know
acting.
that they include some of your favorite actors, right? In terms of
Yeah.
at least the female lead in it, right?
Jury Smollett.
Hmm.
We got Angeline Ellis. I love her work. Uh, we
Yes.
had Angela Bassett's husband, Courtney B. Vance. So lot of
Amazing cast. An
amazing,
amazing
and
cast.
Jonathan Majors, who works alongside of
Absolutely.
yeah. So
She of the full nose.
I'm trying to figure
She of the
out why
full
none of
nose.
the actors,
Yes.
none of them, were
None.
nominated. None.
Certainly the series is based on your beliefs and following them through these different worlds, so than
Hmm.
where we come from. So I don't understand, I don't understand. On the limited series side, we see another kind of, I think, premier African American piece of filmmaking. That's best
Okay.
TV limited series, anthology, and made for TV movie. Okay,
Okay. Hmm.
here are the nominees, and I'll wrap it with the one that is the one that stands out to me.
Hmm.
People from Hulu. This is
Okay.
The Queen's Gambit from Netflix, which had a lot of buzz. People were watching chess again, as if that's a cyclical thing about chess. The
Right.
Undoing from HBO, which was ripe for many parodies for whatever accent Nicole Kidman had. Who knows what accent she was translating in that? She is not of the Meryl Streep school of acting. Uh, Unorthodox from Netflix, which was a really controversial and interesting piece. But what I want
Hmm.
to point out is Small Acts on Amazon Prime.
Mm.
That was Steve McQueen's project. And by
Yes.
Steve McQueen, I mean the Black British director, not the late actor.
Hmm.
Steve McQueen of of what's it's called 12 days, no, 12
12
years
years
a day.
he's a
Yeah,
slave. Yeah.
days. You wish it was days.
I
Yeah,
wish it
12
was that.
years, 12
Hmm.
years a slave. He has
Hmm.
this project called Small Acts that deals with the Black British experience.
Hmm.
And it is, for someone who is American, it's
Hmm.
interesting. For someone who is African American, it's interesting. It deals
Hmm.
with this. It has these short stories. One
Hmm.
of them stars John Boyega from the Star Wars, the recent Star Wars
Yeah.
movies, where he plays the first Black British police officer, and
Hmm.
the trials that he has to go through in that role, which is, I mean, great. It's amazing. The one that really like worked me was Lovers Rock. Lovers
Ah.
Rock, which is this really beautifully told, simple tale,
Hmm.
um, that has to do with a certain style of reggae that is geared toward couples, geared
Okay.
toward women.
Mm-hmm.
It has a more feminine side of reggae. It's where you whine, where you bump and grind and whine in the house party. You get the sound systems and the way that he is able to tell this story to this young woman who is working and just
Mm-hmm.
needs like a night out. It's really beautiful, and it's something that kind of extends the diaspora of our experience when we go to different places in the world as
Mm-hmm.
African people. We experience life a little bit differently, and I think there's a lack of appreciation sometimes for that. And Steve McQueen's eye and the way that he captures this music is really beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and I think it deserves to be acknowledged and awarded.
Exactly. I would definitely agree with you. And I guess did we want to look at any other categories or?
Well, there's one interesting one. We're talking about the presence or the lack of nominations. Here's one category where some performers could not be denied, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's best supporting actor for drama. In that category, you have Sacha Baron Cohen from
Mm-hmm.
The Trial of Chicago 7.
Yeah.
When you watch it, you maybe at the end you remind yourself like, that's Borat.
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
I didn't know. I totally
that's
forgot I was
Borat.
watching him. I totally forgot I was watching him. Did not know.
Especially in a year
Mm-hmm.
where there is a Borat movie that it gets
Mm-hmm.
nominated in other categories. It's like, dude's Borat, okay? Because he's
Right.
not Borat in this. He is Abby Hoffman. And he
Mm.
takes on if you've read or seen anything about Abby Hoffman, he does take on Abby Hoffman's personality and
Right.
characteristics and
Right.
mannerisms. And it's great. It's a great performance. It's really strong.
Forgot I was
Jared
watching him.
creepy Jared Leto is nominated for The Little Things,
Okay.
which was the HBO movie that starred Denzel
Denzel
Washington
Washington. That's a Denzel
and
Washington
Romeo
one.
Doubs. Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
yeah. So he's the only person nominated for that, and
Ooh.
he's quite creepy and very. Bill
Means he did his
Murray
job.
is awarded for being Bill Murray again. He plays Bill Murray in another movie. I love Bill Murray, but I
Me
mean,
too.
you got to know that the man is just playing himself now, right? He is the Al Pacino of comedy. He is just himself. He walks in a role, he's Bill Murray. He walks out of a role, he's Bill Murray. There's no difference. Okay, so God bless him. I mean, I'd love. I saw him in a restaurant once, and he was just the coolest guy in the world.
Yeah.
He was watching football, and he was, down to earth. I mean, I think he is who he pretends to be, but I don't think there's any separation. Anyway, um, so here's the two people we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
Leslie Odom Jr.
Woo.
We mentioned him briefly for One Night in Miami playing Sam Cooke, bring
Woo.
Sam Cooke back to life. Man, there's been so much about Sam Cooke in the last year, and I gotta
Mm-hmm.
credit Leslie Odom Jr. for doing that. He's probably the person that is in people's minds when they think of Sam Cooke. I mean, he kind of tears it up in that movie. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then someone who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor who was in a movie that is nowhere else in these nominations, and
I
that
noticed
movie
that.
is Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh my gosh.
So, so the same actor, the same wonderful actor that we know from now the iconic film Get Out, is
Mm-hmm.
nominated for Judas and the Black Messiah, and he plays Fred Hampton.
Oh boy.
and and it is quite powerful. It probably isn't the most powerful performance in that movie, but it needed to be to carry that movie, and he
Very much.
does an excellent job. Daniel Kaluuya, he does that. He does it. He's great.
Yeah.
He's
And
great. Now,
I
yeah,
I wanted
go
I
ahead.
wanted to I wanted to jump in and I'm gonna go back to Leslie. One of my favorite scenes in One Night in Miami is the one that involves Leslie Odom playing Sam Cooke. There's a scene. It's kind of a flashback where Sam Cooke is on stage and something has gone wrong with either the performance. Something has happened where the music can't be played and the musicians aren't there or something like that. And so he starts to do this heart rhythm beat, and the Malcolm X is he's looking on and he's recalling this to the four that's in they're talking about it, and he just literally just started to sing and capture and move the crowd, and everyone was ready to get very angry, and he turned it on a dime, and that part made me emotional during that time, and I was crying like, oh my gosh. Now Daniel, he's been doing a lot of press for Judas, and he talked about his dialect coach, because I keep forgetting he's British. You keep forgetting he's British, but that accent goes away. He fully embodies this character of Fred Hampton. He has great screen presence, and when he does the speeches and he's talking, the cadence, and he said that a lot of times he had to rest his voice because it was a lot. And he said if he didn't rest his voice, he would have lost it. But it was literally that just pouring into this role of Fred Hampton. It was amazing. I'm sad that Lakeith Stansfield was not nominated because he played the Judas character. He played William, the
Yes,
FBI
and
informant.
that's one of those characters where you could easily Heath Ledger off of that. And
Very
I
much so.
I
Yeah.
worry, and he kind of made me worry even more
Mm,
until I began to read interviews when he talked about that he actually did seek out therapy
yeah.
during and after that. He plays a traitor, a race traitor, and there are not many of
Right.
those. Not
No.
many black race traitors, I should say. Um, and he's good at it. He's effective. I mean,
He's
Charlemagne gives him a backhanded compliment, but it's deserved. I don't know. He played that role too well. I mean, I understand the backhandedness in their whole relationship, but he does. He
yeah,
really
and
does.
and the character that he portrays, Bill O'Neill, when I was doing the research on the movie, Bill O'Neill, the actual person who betrayed the Black Panthers
That's
and
so
dined
good,
out.
right?
Yeah, they said on the day that the Eyes on the Prize documentary aired on television, very
Yeah.
similar to Judas, a biblical real person who deceived Jesus. um Bill O'Neill killed himself the night that the Eyes on the Prize documentary was premiered, and I think this happened in 1990. So I understand Lakeith seeking out therapy and other things to help him untangle himself from the role, because there were so many times it looked like Bill, the character, Lakeith, was
Hmm.
going to break and say
Yes.
something. He looked
Yes.
like he wanted to say something, and
Right.
it was brilliant. And I'm like, you're bringing all of that to the surface, and the conversations he would have with the white FBI agent, and saying, I'm holding this over you, like, do you want to spend time in jail
Hmm.
for portraying a role? And there's something that happens in the movie. I don't want to give it away. Please see this film, where Bill O'Neill shows an FBI badge, but it's fake. But that little piece comes back, and the way it comes back is very
Hmm.
haunting. It's very telling, and I hate that Lakeith was not nominated. I understand why Daniel was nominated, but it's excellent performances all around, all
Yeah,
around.
another kind of forgotten performance for another role in which someone functions as a race traitor
Hmm.
would be in the United States versus Billie Holiday. The man that Billie cannot shake, the FBI agent that she cannot shake, is played by Trevante Rhodes,
Hmm.
and um, you've seen him. You'd recognize him when you see
Yeah.
him. He's been in Moonlight and some other films. Um, yeah, he also really strong role.
Oh,
probably overlooked.
okay.
But he has the dual function of not only acting as a traitor,
Mm-hmm.
someone who is hunting Billie Holiday, but also
Mm-hmm.
someone who is haunted by Billie Holiday.
Wow.
And that's really difficult. He turns her in. This is not a big secret,
Okay.
but she forgives him. And
Mm.
exactly how he is able to make that happen is the stuff of magic. And really movies, that's the stuff of magic too.
Yeah, so he wasn't nominated. I'm now looking at him, Trevante Rhodes. Yeah, he's whoever his agent is. They've been getting him in good stuff because he's memorable in Moonlight. Believe you me. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay.
So on Sunday, February the 28th, coming up, we've got the 78th annual Golden Globes, hosted by Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Just in case if you forget that there are no black people involved, they certainly will remind you that there are no black people involved here. They may come up to the stage, but that's it.
And I believe they'll be on opposite coasts. One will be in New York. One will be in Los Angeles for the
Cheering
magic
on
of
the
virtual.
coast. Yep.
They'll be hosting on the coast. It'll be interesting to see how they put this together. But as Corona has forced many of us to do, is to reimagine how people get awards and how people do award shows on NBC this coming
NBC.
Sunday.
The
Yeah,
only color
eight.
is in the peacock.
Yeah, so eight Eastern and 7 p.m. Central, and then of course they have no. I don't think they will have a red carpet situation before then.
What do you
I
need a
think
red carpet for? I mean,
you might
you
get
get a red
Corona.
couch.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a red couch. I don't know.
It might be
You
that we don't know.
walk from the bedroom or the kitchen to sit on your red couch in your Prada gown. Prada, which is a joke if you've seen United States versus Billie Holiday. Get off my Prada. So, yeah, NBC, where the only color is in the peacock. Hmm.
uh, I'm Valarie Johnson, and who are you?
I am not Valarie Johnson, but this is a special edition of Interludes with Valarie Johnson.
Thank you. Have a great one.